It is a Victory Monday. Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devil Show. I'm Anthony Totri, joined on this special occasion emergency podcast by the one, the only legend himself, Craig Morgan. Today, Craig,
you're talking about me.
We've got the most random Monday news that I feel like you could possibly have in November that Arizona State fans, the wide majority of them, are celebrating today because the news came down that athletic director Ray Anderson is resigning as the athletic director at Arizona State. This comes obviously just days after Arizona State football's big win over UCLA. The basketball program, they got their first win of the season on Saturday. Volleyball's on the up and up. You know ASU hockey's having a hell of a season. They split with Denver. I'm just curious your initial reaction to this news before we get into really the meat and potatoes of it all.
Well, it's mixed, as I feel like any reasonable reaction should be to news like this. And I know I've seen the vitriol that was been directed toward Ray Anderson, and I'm sure that was a big reason why he chose to step down, because when the majority of the fan base is telling you they don't want you around anymore, well, that stings. But I don't think you can ignore all the good things that Ray Anderson did at Arizona State for this athletic department. He's going to be painted through the Herm Edwards lens. That's the reality of college athletics. That's always how it works. You are chained to the football coach that you hire, and in some programs to the basketball coach as well. But that's it. Nobody looks for anything else. So I'll stop talking for a moment so we can get into some of that.
Yeah, I know you bring up, obviously, the Herm Edwards thing. I think that's where it got sour for a lot of Arizona State fans. Obviously, the whole NCAA investigation, still kind of waiting to see what comes of that. Obviously, the self-imposed bowl ban this season for Arizona State. But again, the Herm Edwards situation, really from start to finish, the way that kind of ended, I feel like was still such a irreversible thing in Arizona State fans' heads that it wouldn't have really mattered what what Ray would have done with the football program moving on from that point, or the basketball program, or any of the non-revenue sports. ASU fans had kind of already made their mind up as to where they felt about Ray. Now, do you think that is fair at the end of the day? Now, I know life isn't fair, whatever. There is a whole lot of good that I think he did for the hockey program, volleyball, triathlon. But at the end of the day, like you said earlier, football is king when it comes to this stuff.
I think if you just look through that narrow lens of the football program, it's fair. Again, you are tied to your football coach. And did Ray Anderson commit those infractions? No, he did not. But he hired the guy that was supposed to oversee them, and whether Herm was duped or not doesn't matter. His assistants did some bad things. Obviously, they ran afoul of the NCAA. We don't want to get into a discussion of the NCAA because that's a whole other topic. But they ran afoul of the NCAA. You can't do that. You broke the rules. Yeah. So that reflects on the coach, and it reflects on the AD. And again, as you said, football is king. It's by far the biggest revenue driver of the program, and it's by far the highest profile sport of the program. So that is how the majority of fans are going to judge you.
Yeah, I think this comes when I first heard about this morning. My initial reaction was like, just feels like a weird time for this to be happening, right? You're still at the tail end of the football season. Basketball season just started. Hockey season right now, Arizona State's having a hell of a run. Volleyball is doing the same. And you're waiting for the baseball season, right? So it just felt like it came at a weird time, similar to the whole Herm Edwards resigning, termination, whatever you want to call it, last season. It's like, yes, I understand they lost at a certain point, but it would have, like, you had the opportunity to make that decision, which for this specifically leads me to believe that this truly is a resignation and less of we're going to call it a resignation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you've obviously had a great relationship with Ray over the years, just covering this program. Like, what sense have you gotten from him that this was just like the quote unquote right time for this move?
Well, I mean, he's not going to talk right now.
Yeah.
You saw the statement in the release that ASU put out, and my understanding is Ray's not going to do any media for the foreseeable future. But it stung. I mean, aside from the losing, right, where the football program's gone and what happened with the football program, the criticism stung. You can't just be bashed like that day after day and just keep coming to work saying, yeah, I feel good, unless you're just not self-reflective at all, right? Or have the ability to just let all that stuff bounce off of you. So I'm sure that a big part of this was him continuing to listen to this, continuing to self-reflect, and then coming to the realization that, hey, it may be time to fall on the sword and get out of here for the good of the program and the good of my own mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, taking the verbal abuse every single day on social media. There was videos that were coming out of the Rose Bowl over the weekend, even after ASU had won, waiting for Kenny Dillingham to go shake Ray's hand. All of the ASU like student section that was over there was chanting at Ray, right? Like, fire Ray, we hate Ray, whatever. And then Kenny came over to shake his hand, and then they just shook Kenny's hand and were cheering for Kenny, right? Like, that is, I think, at a certain point where it's just like, man, like, they really aren't going to change the way they felt. I'm curious how much of that was in Ray's head, right? Of like, maybe if we do get the football program on the right track, when the NCAA thing is behind us, let's see what basketball can do. Maybe we can overcome it. And I think maybe at that point where they had, such a crazy win over UCLA, to still get that verbal abuse, that it was like, maybe we're too far gone.
And as you mentioned, maybe we can get past this. Maybe that was the thinking. Like, I know that they think that you got a bowl ban.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the sanctions that are coming down from the NCAA have been levied already.
Yeah.
You're past all of that and past this season when they accepted a bowl ban, when honestly, internally, they looked at this roster and said, there's no way this team's making a bowl game. And I agree with them. I know there's been some characterization of the recruiting as being pretty good. It wasn't. They didn't get the players they wanted. They had to go well down their lists. It was not a good recruiting year. So when they looked at it internally, even though they may have not have said it around the football offices, they didn't think this team was making a bowl game. So they thought that this season made sense because you were going to be there anyway. But you're not going to get the chance to move past it now. And like you said, I think just the constant vitriol is playing a major role here. It's hard to come to work and believe in your job and believe in the program when everyone is telling you need to go, and they're not saying it nicely. They're not being polite about it.
Yeah, and especially from the idea that I have that Ray truly does care about this program, and if you want to see it advance, I think there is an understanding with the way that college football specifically is trending in terms of the NIL landscape and era. Like, Arizona State was behind the curve when it came to NIL. And I think, like we said a little bit off camera before, I'm curious to know how many donors specifically didn't want to donate to Arizona State because of the way that they had felt about Ray Anderson as the athletic director. Now, with Arizona State being one of the largest public institutions in the nation, right, you figure you would have alumni kind of lining up at the door to try and maybe help this football program, help this baseball program, help this basketball program. I'm curious to see what the NIL shift maybe looks like now with Ray gone, or I guess in a new position, which we'll talk about, and then obviously with the football program and all the other sports moving to the Big 12.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces there. Like, for what's Michael Crow's attitude about NIL, that matters in this too. And then when you mention the fact that ASU it may still be the largest public university in the country. It always seems to go back and forth with Ohio State, but it's not a generous donor base. Let's just put it bluntly. They do not give a lot of money. It's not like you can go out and fix the problem the way Tennessee did, right? You're not getting that massive donation from anybody at ASU. So it's not as easy as saying, okay, Ray Anderson's out. Now we're going to have all these people stepping forward, forking over big money for NIL.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, guys, this emergency pod, we are just getting started. Ralph Amson's going to be joining. Hopefully, Big Pokey Shane Diefenbach himself is going to be joining. We should have some sound from ASU baseball coach Willie Bloomquist coming, and then we've also got some sound from ASU football coach Kenny Dillingham that we're going to get to here in just a second. But do Bobby Hurley a solid, just like you do every single day. Hit that like button. He's always begging. He's always pleading for likes from time to time. This is kind of what he does. He got a win on Saturday, and now he gets a little bit more of a win in his eyes, probably, with Ray Anderson resigning. I do want to go ahead and get to the Kenny Dillingham sound for everybody watching live. This is coming out of his Monday morning press conference just a little bit ago. This is Kenny Dillingham's first comments on Ray Anderson resigning as the Arizona State athletic director.
Yeah, thankful for him giving me the opportunity to be the head coach here, my alma mater, my dream job. So very, very thankful for him. He's been supportive of me since I got here. So best of luck to him in his future. And, we'll look forward to what the future holds here. But best of luck to him in the future. And I'm very thankful for his opportunity he gave me to be the head coach here.
I'm not going to lie, before reacting to that, it did surprise me that this news was scheduled to break, I guess, around 11:15, 11:20, knowing that Kenny was going to be speaking at noon. If it were me, I feel like PR would have been like, let's wait till this press conference is over, and then we can go ahead and break that news. That was interesting to me.
Yeah, very coordinated, actually, because there was a meeting going on as well. So people were finding out at the meeting earlier today. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy. But look, Kenny's right. At the end of the day, regardless of what happens with this football program moving forward, if it's successful with Kenny, if there's a new athletic director, I think there are going to be a lot of people that probably want to give that person success whenever that time comes, if that time comes. But if there is one thing that Ray is going to hitch the horse to here, is Kenny Dillingham was the final hire for him at this football program. And if it's successful, the same way that he gets the hate, you're going to have to give him a little bit of love if it gets successful at a certain point.
There are reasons to give Ray love, and we'll see what Kenny Dillingham does if he becomes one of those reasons. There's also the reality that Kenny Dillingham is not the new AD's guy. So we'll see how he fares if he doesn't have success in his first few seasons, because you know how that works as well. But if you want to talk about Ray Anderson's legacy, obviously you have to talk about Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
That's top of the list, right? But you can't ignore some of the other things he did. Let's talk about facilities, right? The upgrades. And I know Todd Graham had a role in this as well. And Todd Graham has his own perception out there, but Todd Graham had a role in helping get those renovations at Sun Devil Stadium done. Ray Anderson did too. Ray Anderson's work on facilities in particular at this university has been really good. You know about the Novus corridor, you know about the athletic district across the street, across rural, where they're going to be moving other facilities. You got the hockey arena built. And I don't know if you've been looking at projections, but men's hockey is a revenue sport.
Yeah.
It's one of 3 revenue sports at Arizona State. And I have heard some projections saying it's on track to be more revenue producing than men's basketball, which is insane.
Crazy.
And that doesn't even factor in the community rink. And that's the other side of this piece that needs to be talked about. When they're looking at facilities now, and Ray Anderson is cutting edge in the nation, other schools are copying this now. When they build facilities, they find a way to generate revenue from the public in these facilities. It's happening at Sun Devil Stadium. It's happening at Mullet Arena. It's going to happen at the tennis facility when it finally gets built across rural. They're going to have pickleball courts. They're going to have tennis courts. They're going to rent it out to the public, and it's going to generate revenue. This is the new wave. This was Ray Anderson's idea.
Yeah.
You can't ignore that. You can't ignore the academic progress that these programs have made. I know people rolled their eyes at like, oh, whatever, who cares about grades? Well, parents do. Job searchers do.
Yeah.
And the academic progress rates of this school have skyrocketed under Ray Anderson. And then look at some of the hires that he's made on the Olympic side.
Yeah.
Bob Bowman, Zeke Jones, Cliff English. You can just keep going down the list. And people don't care about Olympic sports. But you know what? If your kid plays that sport or you play that sport, you care about it. It still matters. Ray tried to bring a Stanford approach to ASU in that regard, where the student athlete experience mattered to all student athletes, not just football and basketball. And I don't know how you look at this program and say he didn't have success doing that.
That's because you say Ray Anderson anywhere in the state of Arizona, and they're not going to say that Zeke Jones is the first coach that comes to mind, or that Cliff English is the first coach that comes to mind, or Bob Bowman. It is always, till the end of time, it is going to be Herm Edwards, and it's going to be that situation that took place when they let Todd Graham go, and everybody looked at the Herm Edwards hire of like, okay, this could go one of 2 ways, and it ended up going option C. Yep. And it kind of resulted in a really, really difficult situation for the current football program, the coaching staff, the players, regardless. And now I think the most challenging part for ASU fans to try and get over, specifically as it relates to the football program, regardless of what Ray says about the way he feels toward Arizona State, is at the end of the day, he let Herm Edwards off, right?
Yep.
They paid him to leave after embarrassing this football program. Just about every single person is in a cushy spot now that was on the staff while ASU is dealing with a bowl ban and how it's impacted recruiting and potential violations, or I guess potential sanctions by the NCAA, is Herm Edwards is now at a cushy chair in ESPN, the same one that he was prior to ASU. And Antonio Pierce, another giant part of this whole recruiting situation, he's got a comfy job as the interim head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, and they're 2-0 under Antonio Pierce. And where's Arizona State? Right? Like Arizona State now picked up their third win
Antonio
of the season.
Pierce, who won't even talk to the NCAA, by the way. Yeah.
Like it's that is always why I feel like, regardless of Milita being one of the best things in the last, I would say, decade for Arizona State athletics happening, regardless of some of the crazy coaches on a national level that he's brought in terms of Olympic sports. Like, it is always going to be Ray Anderson and Herm Edwards in it is always going to be what they did to Arizona State. It is never going to be what Ray Anderson, quote unquote, did for Arizona
And the friendship matters in that too, right? The perception of that, he did a favor for his friend. Well, welcome to college athletics. That happens all over college and pro sports, by the way, if you start examining things. But and that's real. That's fair. Did he do his friend a solid? He sure did. And that's going to be part of his legacy as well. Again, it's shades of gray, man. It's nuanced. It's not black and white. It's not all Herm Edwards. I know most of the people out there are still saying, yes, it is. It's Herm Edwards, and I'm not listening to anything else you say. But it's not. It's nuanced. But that is a big, big piece. That is, unfortunately for Ray Anderson, it's the defining piece of his legacy. That's probably how he will be remembered, except by, the people in Olympic sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we are going to have some more guests on the show, but before we get you out of here, I do want to ask you a little bit about his new position that he is going to be at Arizona State, because we got this release, and it says he is going to remain at ASU as a professor of practice and senior advisor to help expand the well-respected sports law and business program in the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law. What do you think about Arizona State keeping Ray on, I guess, in this role? And then, I mean, if I'm Ray, for me, I feel like I don't know how I feel about this position, to be honest with you, because I'm coming down as I was a top 5 athletic director paid wise in the entire nation, and now I'm a professor of practice.
We'll see how long it lasts. I haven't had a chance to talk to Ray about this at any length.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's a former agent. He's an AD. He works for the NFL. He has a wealth of experience to bring to the classroom. So in terms of qualifications, it'd be unbelievable to learn from him. Is it weird that he's going to step into the classroom? Probably for the next couple of years. For students who care about football, it might be a little weird. After that, it won't matter if he's still around.
Yeah.
But I will say this, like if Ray Anderson wants to pursue something else, if he wants to go work somewhere else, he'll get a job pretty easily because, as I said before, he has just an incredible wealth of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that's Craig Morgan, who's been covering Arizona sports for how long now, Craig?
We don't have to talk about that, buddy. Thanks. Thanks for bringing that up.
Look, we are going to continue the conversation about Ray Anderson resigning as the Arizona State athletic director. But first, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the takeover that we are going to be having toward the end of the season. This is the perfect time to go ahead, become a diehard, because, ladies and gentlemen, the Territorial Cup is gonna be back in Tempe, and I can't think of a more anticipated Territorial Cup than this season's, right? The Arizona Wildcats, obviously, with an improved season, and now Arizona State. Are you kidding me? With Ray Anderson gone, there are going to be so many people that talk themselves into believing that Arizona State is going to bring that Territorial Cup home, and who knows, they just might. But definitely go to gophnx.com, get your ticket. There's only a few left. The official PHNX takeover, guys, Saturday, November 25th. It is going to be the absolute best in the city. Now, I'm telling you, if you still want a ticket to the Arizona State game this weekend against Oregon, the only place to go get that ticket, guys, is Game Time. They're going to hook you up with the absolute best prices. And the best thing about Game Time is you can get your ticket and you can pay later. You don't necessarily have to pay for the event prior to going. You could set it up in little payments. And the nice thing about some of these ASU tickets is they are so damn cheap. Guys, snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem that code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And it's kind of ironic. We're talking about Arizona State football, Arizona State basketball, and that's why we're going to tell you guys a little bit about Desert Financial Credit Union right now, guys, the official retail banking partner of Arizona State University. And for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. Now is the time to show your ASU team spirit. Now more than ever, with Ray Anderson no longer the athletic director, guys, open a free checking account online and get $200 plus your choice of 3 Arizona State University Visa debit cards. Go to desertfinancial.com/ASU to get started. We're just getting started on the PHNX Sun Devil Show, guys. We're going to have a couple more guests coming on. We've got some Willie Bloomquist sound, the Arizona State baseball coach, that we're going to be getting to here in just a little bit. And I just got the text. Big Pokey himself is going to be joining the program here in just a few minutes. So hit that like button. Do Bobby Hurley a solid. He is always asking for likes. Guys, we truly do appreciate everybody in the chat. Let us know right now how you feel about Ray Anderson resigning as the athletic director at Arizona State. I'm curious, Jacob, you went to Arizona State. We've had a little bit of a conversation about this. What's your initial reaction to the news?
Yeah, I mean, the timing of it was a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, it feels like dropping something like this. And obviously this was his choice.
Yeah.
But like dropping this in the middle of November was just a little odd.
Yeah.
It just almost felt like it was like, well, what's a Monday? What's a random Monday? We can try and flood get this news out. Yeah. People aren't going to pay too much attention. It's tough because a lot of the stuff that Craig brings up is super important to remember. But at the end of the day, your bottom line revenue driving sports are football and basketball.
Yeah.
And I think people had just lost their confidence in him at this point.
Yeah. And like I said, there was always going to be a bad taste in the mouths of ASU fans anytime Ray Anderson was going to be brought up because of the situation with Herm Edwards, because of the NCAA investigation. That was always going to be the legacy of Ray Anderson in the eyes of ASU fans. We got Brett in the chat. Thank God. Look, Danny in the chat, I've been praying for times like this, right? Like that is the way that Arizona State fans feel about Ray Anderson not being the athletic director anymore. Like today is truly a day that so many ASU fans are celebrating today. It is one of the more unique situations, I feel like, when it relates to college athletics, that you have so many fans excited to see a position in power like Ray Anderson no longer be in that position. Again, he is going to stay at Arizona State. We do have, I believe, all text in the chat. We need real leadership moving to the Big 12. Great move, Ernesto. A new breath of fresh air for athletics. I do want to bring in Ralph Ampson. We've got Ralph on now, who always is joining on the ASU post-game shows. Ralph, I shot you a text this morning, an immediate, just like, yeah, let's get into it, dude. What is just your initial reaction to the news of Ray Anderson resigning as the athletic director? Obviously, you've been around Arizona State for quite some time now.
Good. Bye. Bye. And I really, really have to push back on. I appreciate Craig Morgan. I think he does just such an incredible job, and I genuinely feel like the state is lucky. Like does not realize how fortunate they are to have somebody with Craig Morgan's perspective and professionalism and his work ethic. He is the absolute best, but I could not disagree more. This isn't just football driven. Yeah. It's not. Football is noisy, but let's take football out of it completely. Let's pretend football at Arizona State University does not exist. Okay?
Okay.
Ray Anderson still had to get lawyers involved because he didn't want to communicate with his own basketball coach about how he was dealing with accusations his basketball coach's wife made about inappropriate sexual contact from a booster that he was still hanging out with.
Yeah.
Okay. Those emails were unearthed 42 months ago. That should have been the end of it right then and there. It was not. It was not. So again, we're pretending football does not even exist. ASU took money from Bart Ware's family this year.
Yeah.
This year. The new swimming scoreboard. Where do you think that money came from? Like, the football is so loud that it's covering up some of the other deficiencies that exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Arizona State is progressing in a lot of different areas. What the assumption is that no one else on earth could have helped ASU progress in those areas. Let's talk about some of the other things that were done in the sports that are not football. ASU volleyball is on a hot streak right now, is it not?
Yeah.
Is this not Ray Anderson's third hire?
It is.
Can we talk about Stevie Mussey? Because nobody at ASU ever wants to talk about Stevie Mussey. Can we talk about Sanya Tomasevic? Can we talk about her? 283 winning percentage in conference, hung on to her for 6 years. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Where is Trisha Ford? Where is Trisha Ford? That's right.
Yeah.
She's at Texas A&M. And what has happened to ASU softball? Oh, worst conference record since 2016.
Yeah.
Worst conference record in 7 years. Okay. Can we talk about ASU women's basketball, who just had their worst conference record of all time? Of all time. One of the most beloved figures in ASU athletics is Charlie Turner Thorne. We're not going to get into any of the reasons or speculation why she stepped down, but she obviously wasn't done working because she went to work for her assistant, Nikki Blue, at the Phoenix Mercury. So she obviously wasn't trying to retire from the sport altogether.
Yeah.
And I wish nothing but success for Natasha Adair. I hope that program takes off. But guess what? They had their worst record since 1996 and their worst conference record ever. Ever. On top of all of that, baseball is super important to the Arizona State University alumni base. Super important. Not only did Ray Anderson alienate 3/4 of the fan base by keeping Tracy Smith on longer than a lot of people wanted him to, the other quarter of the fan base that was behind Tracy Smith, somehow they got alienated too, even after he was fired, because Tracy Smith and his entire family, for some reason, remain to this day upset with Ray Anderson. Why is it that the people that worked with him have that level of attitude? Could it just be because he's fired? Maybe. We can give him the benefit of the doubt in all of these little places. But the fact of the matter is, having to get lawyers involved because you don't know how to speak to your basketball head coach on tough issues, ignoring your women's basketball coach that is through and through the most Sun Devil of Sun Devil coaches since Frank Kush, not hiring her recommendation, then watching her go back to work for her former assistant with the Mercury while your women's basketball team has the worst season it's had in 27 years is embarrassing. Not retaining Trisha Ford is embarrassing. Like what happened with ASU women's volleyball before this? Like, cool, third time's a charm. Still, like, swimming is awesome. I 100% agree. We're still taking money from somebody who is accused of sexually harassing the wife of someone who is suing the university right now, by the way, and your head basketball coach. None of these things have anything to do with football. But let's get into football. Let's talk about it.
Ralph's cooking.
But it wasn't just the Herm Edwards thing. Obviously, personality conflict between him and Todd Graham. That is what it is. Todd Graham's had a lot of personality conflicts with a lot of people, and from what I've heard, so has Ray Anderson. Could they both be decent men? Absolutely. Absolutely. But guess what? The football program is in literal hell because of Ray Anderson, not because of Herm Edwards, because there would be no Herm Edwards without Ray Anderson, not because of Antonio Pierce, because there would be no Antonio Pierce without Ray Anderson. He didn't just staff the football program with his friends. It was also the people that he worked at his agency with that are now drawing six-figure salaries to be in ASU's athletic administration. And I'm not saying that Ken Lanphier does a bad job. I'm saying he was Ray Anderson's friend. All that's cool if you work for the TSA. That's cool if you want to get your friends on if you work for the TSA, right? That's cool if when you were 16 like me, you wanted to get your friends on at Peter Piper Pizza. Man, I could get you $6.25 an hour cleaning dishes. Of course, I'm trying to get myself off the dishes, right? Like that. Yes, that is how it works. It hits different when it's Ray Anderson.
Yeah.
Because why is Ray Anderson notable?
Yeah.
Why is he such a notable figure in sports? Well, Craig Morgan brings up Ray Anderson's reputation nationwide. It's as a pioneer to help break up the good old boys club and get new, fresh faces into the coaching ranks. Yeah. He served as their agent. He helped break down all of these barriers. And then when it came time for him to be in a position to put new people on, he did the same good old boy stuff that he's been fighting back against his entire life. And he stacked the deck with all of his friends. And the thing with football that's probably the most frustrating is every single one of Ray Anderson's ideas was very bad. They were very bad ideas, right? So Ray Anderson had the idea that you could remove one coach from a staff, one and only one, replace it with a figurehead, and have your assistants, your very qualified assistants, continue to do their job working for somebody else. He had a fundamental misunderstanding of how college football works. That fundamental misunderstanding put Herm Edwards in a place to be supported by Billy Napier and Phil Bennett. You could have just hired Billy Napier. Yeah. Instead, Billy Napier leaves. He raises University of Louisiana to prominence, gets the University of Florida job, where he is now coaching Ricky Pearsall, who is leading University of Florida in receiving. Ricky Pearsall, one of the reasons that he leaves is because of Ray Anderson's lack of support, and every NIL deal that comes through has to be stamped by Ray Anderson. Ray Anderson has turned down NIL money that has caused players to transfer. This is true. This is the absolute truth. So you have Ray Anderson's attitude on NIL. You have the fact that Ray Anderson was one of Larry Scott's biggest supporters. You can't argue against that. You have that Ray Anderson supported everything George Kliavkoff did until the entire conference broke up. You have Ray Anderson embarrassing Arizona State University by talking down on University of West Virginia, not even understanding that, if people look into further context, he was just talking about how he doesn't like to be cold. But when this is your 10th time saying something that gets taken out of context, perhaps you should be the one, very frankly, that is providing more context. And you say all that, right? And we can all agree that football is not the only thing, but it is the thing. It is the thing, and you can't come up with a completely new way of doing business, promise everyone that you're going to surround Herm Edwards with as much support as he needs to be successful in this role, and then not recognize that your friend that you hired has no desire to put in the hours, to learn the game, or do anything it would take to be successful long term. I want to make this very, very clear. Arizona State fired Herm Edwards, which is a whole other thing, right? Because Ray Anderson spent the last year and a half telling people he had to fire his friend when they called it a mutual decision. I've talked about on this show, how does a mutual decision work? Anthony, let's both say what we're thinking on 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't want to be the coach of Arizona State anymore. That's how a mutual decision works. No, That's not how it worked at all, right? They knew they had to replace him. They didn't want to call it a firing. He used it to get a $4.4 million buyout to his friend and former client, who would have been implicated. Yeah. And perhaps Ray would have as well, would have been implicated that they knew that they were bringing recruits in during COVID restrictions. Okay. And among many, many other things. But what it really comes down to for football is they fired Herm Edwards for not being able to run a program in a pro-style era with sponsorship money. Remind me why they brought Herm Edwards in. What they call it?
The pro model. Pro model.
Right. So when things got professional, that's when Herm had to go. Because they never expected for things to look like the NFL, even though they said they brought him in to make things look like the NFL.
Yeah.
So that alone is one of the greatest miscalculations in modern college football history. Bringing in your friend and former client when you were known historically for breaking up boys clubs, saying that he was going to have the staff that was already in place and having a bunch of those people walk away middle fingers up. We've seen what Phil Bennett has to say about Ray Anderson, right?
Yeah.
We've seen what he has to say.
And Tracy Smith.
They walk away. Herm Edwards doesn't learn anything. He is not equipped to do this job. And it creates a situation in which somebody with a basic knowledge base was going to have to step in and take over. That somebody was Antonio Pierce. Everything good that has happened for ASU football in the last 5 years can be directly traced back to Antonio Pierce. Everything bad that has happened in ASU football in the last 5 years, and that's going to continue to affect it for years to come, can be traced back to Antonio Pierce. And internally, they walk around saying, Antonio Pierce screwed us all over. He totally snowed us. Antonio Pierce was making gambling tweets the day he was hired. You knew who he was. You knew who he was. He was investigated because when he came to Arizona to play the Super Bowl against a 17-0 Patriots team when he was with the Giants, he just left his dogs unsupervised. They got out and ran the neighborhood.
God.
When Plaxico Burress shot himself, he was out at the club with Antonio Pierce, who was 6 months into being a newlywed, and instead is on video making out with different women. And then guess who takes the gun and doesn't go directly to the police? Guess who the police have to come to? That's who you brought into the program. Long Beach Poly was on probation because of Antonio Pierce. Arizona State University is on probation because of Antonio Pierce. And I appreciate that Craig Morgan says that all the consequences have pretty much been levied. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that because we've been under investigation since June 2021. And one of the reasons we've been under investigation is because we did not have the money to support Herm Edwards with his own staff, nor would he have even known how to staff up a college football program. He had not been in the game for 9 years. He had not been in the college game for 30 years. And he cited as his experience that he coached a high school all-star game.
Ralph, you're cooking, man. You're absolutely good. Like, everybody in the chat is with you. JJ in the chat, this is Shakespearean. Karen, this is gold. Z, this needs to be uploaded as its own video. Like, I feel like you have touched a nerve that Arizona State fans are absolutely feeling, right? Especially the ones that are more than just Arizona State football, right? Of like, we can put that to the side, and there is still 1,000,005 different reasons why Ray Anderson shouldn't be the athletic director at Arizona State and probably shouldn't be the athletic director at any university at this point. So I guess my next question to you is, it obviously doesn't necessarily impact athletics, or at least at this point, we hope that it doesn't if you're an ASU fan. But Ray is staying on at Arizona State as a professor of practice, a senior advisor to help, again, expand the well-respected sports law and business program. How do you feel about Arizona State keeping Ray on?
We still have the notice of allegations that needs to drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a very strong belief behind closed doors that one of the reasons that the entire dossier got out in the first place was because of a tiff that existed between Ray Anderson and an assistant coach.
Yeah.
Right. So that essentially the possibility exists that there are plenty of people who have not yet been implicated that may be implicated by the testimony of those who are disgruntled and left. Right. So, what do you do if you're in a situation where you say this man has value because he was a practicing lawyer, he ran a successful agency, he worked with the NFL, he went to Stanford, and he was around at Arizona State, and he helped expand, and create essentially this like athletic village. And I will agree with Craig Morgan. And it was one of the reasons why people would say, why isn't Ray Anderson gone? Why isn't Ray Anderson gone? Because in order for Michael Crow to execute the long-term vision that he has for Arizona State and Arizona State athletics, they were simpatico on this.
Yeah.
Anything good that you like the direction that things are going, as far as like some of the plans for the future, Olympic sports, tennis, hockey, all of that, would maybe some of that have happened if another athletic director was in charge? Like, it's not a zero-sum game, right? It's baseball. It's wins over replacement, right? But you have to be able to factor in the other things that happen. Okay, so is it going to be an interesting situation? Herm Edwards was teaching classes while he was at ASU. What does it actually mean? Is it a way to make sure that he continues to receive his 7-figure salary through the end of his contract? Is he just being shelved? There are questions that people with access to the program should be asking about how that's going to be structured moving forward, because the general attitude of the fan base is that Ray Anderson, in conjunction with Herm Edwards, colluded to steal $4.4 million and give that to Herm Edwards, plus everything that he was contractually paid over the course of his entire time here. Remember, okay, let's jump back one spot, because you do a very good job on this show.
Thank you.
I am a huge fan of yours. Let's say that Saul had come to you to take over PHNX Sun Devils.
Yes.
And you told him, cool, but like, I don't podcast, I don't stream, I don't edit videos, I don't write columns, and I don't do social. And Saul was like, cool, we got somebody for all that. You just got to make appearances. You didn't got to alter your schedule. You can still get up 4:30 in the morning, lift weights, listen to jazz, do all the things that you love to do, right? But we don't actually need you to stream, to podcast, to blog, to do social. We don't need you to edit videos. We don't even need you in the room when we're meeting, right? We don't need you to recruit new talent. We don't need you for any of that. Do you think you would be having success here?
Realistically, probably not.
Right. So why do we blame Herm Edwards for being put in a situation where he was told, you're not going to have to run the offense? You're not going to have to run the defense. You do not need to operate social media on your own. Pawn that off to a guy like Ryan Rizek. Who cares? You do not have to recruit. Just hire a recruiting department. You don't have to staff. Just take Antonio Pierce's word for whoever he wants to bring in and hire. You don't have to do anything different. You just have to be the face of what we're doing. And the expectation that that would be successful is one of the most calculated and intentional misfires in the history of athletic administration, in the history of it. This should be something that he teaches on, and he is more than qualified to do so. So I'm happy to have him in that position, because losses are lessons.
Goodness, Ralph. Oh my goodness. Holy hell, dude. Okay. That was, again, I think you nailed it perfectly for the way that the ASU community is feeling. Before we get you out of here, this is the question that I'm dying to hear your answer to. And it's only going to be one word, okay? One word to describe the Ray Anderson tenure.
Over.
Ralph Ampson, guys. Give him a follow on social media. Ralph, we appreciate you as always, my man. Oh, my goodness. We're going to have Big Pokey on here in just a second. There he is, the mustache man himself from the bus. He's on the road. Shane, it has been a wild couple months for you, but today in Tempe, I think there is going to be an absolute block party on Mill celebrating the news that Ray Anderson is stepping down as the AD. Before I get to your thoughts, what do you think about Ralph's thoughts?
Oh, I mean, I was just going to come in here and say ditto. Let that man speak for me forever. I mean, I've never heard such harsh words so eloquently put, and for good reason. And yeah, I mean, yeah, he can be the mouthpiece for ASU fans everywhere. I mean, so many fans are feeling so many different things, but not everybody can say it. Yeah. Not everybody can get their feelings out there, and that's what these types of shows are for, and that's what guys like Ralph are for, and helping ASU fans express their emotions. So yeah, I mean, even me, somebody who has been, on the show for a couple of years now, is sitting back there in the green room like, yes, Cook, yes. Yeah, but you know who deserves this, Totri?
Who?
It's you, because good hell, what I left and the school was set on fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
it burnt down, man.
I mean, ASU basketball gets embarrassed on one of the worst streaming services I've ever watched something on. I mean, Jemiah Neal is or Frank Collins was just being made fun of at one point. ASU football gets a win finally. Things finally turn around, but before that, I have. It's been a while since I have not finished ASU football games, and granted, it's a lot of the times because I'm on the East Coast. I like the Utah game. I'm like, I'm done. I couldn't do it. So this is the news that Anthony Totri needed.
Yeah, this is. I was almost shocked when I heard this was going to be happening. I'm like, there's no way, right? There's no way.
Almost shocked.
Huh?
Almost shocked. Were you not completely shocked?
I mean, I just felt like it was at a weird time, to be honest with you. It didn't make a whole lot of sense because this past weekend was the most winning Arizona State athletics has done in the calendar year. So to think that the athletic director was going to step down at this moment was a head scratcher. But I think now that it's been, enough time to let it settle in, and it's like I said with Craig earlier on, I think the decision for Ray truly was impacted by the scene at the Rose Bowl this past weekend when ASU got that win. There was the large section of ASU fans that were down there waiting for Kenny by the tunnel, and they were just yelling at Ray, like, fire Ray Anderson, or Ray Anderson sucks, or whatever they were saying. And then the moment Kenny Dillingham comes over, they're cheering for Kenny. Kenny runs into the tunnel, and then they go back to cheering and yelling at Ray, right? It quite literally, I think for him at that moment, when your athletic program, your football program, the cash cow of this whole thing gets a phenomenal win on the road, their best win of the season, and at the end of the day, there is still Ray Anderson getting chirped at. He is the Roger Goodell of Arizona State athletics. It doesn't matter who you draft first overall. You're Roger Goodell. You're going to be getting booed every single pick for the rest of eternity. And I think that truly sunk in for Ray at the Rose Bowl of damn, this is an awesome win. I'm still getting chirped at. I'm still the loser on this side of it. I think at that moment he knew that it was there's no going back.
Yeah, but what a fitting end to Ray Anderson's tenure at ASU. Just a hire in two ways, his and Herm's, that just never really made sense. The whole, everything was just so strange. And the timing of everything was so strange. So the timing for his end to be as weird as it is just really fitting. But I like what you said earlier, and I was thinking about this as soon as I saw the announcement. Isn't it kind of messed up that he got to leave? It's like you're in a relationship that's just so bad and toxic. You're like, I'm finally gonna get out of there, and then they break up with you. You're like, what the hell? Really? You're the one that gets to do that?
Yeah.
It's really unfair. But yeah, I mean, my thoughts on this, we all know, everybody knows how ASU fans and even some staffers feel about Ray, and you can say what you want about Olympic sports or other programs and programs that are succeeding. It's his doing, or it's his not. But take all of the hiring mistakes and the weird that goes on with him aside. If somebody's making me food, or my wait, the person who is serving me, I don't want them to be a distraction. I don't want you dancing with my food in your hand. I just want an AD that's going to do his job. Just do your job. I don't want to get ESPN updates that you're talking shit about a school on the East Coast. I don't want this. I don't want this dancing around. I just don't. I want a guy, or I just want a person in charge who is normal, just a normal human being, and hopefully they can get that in their next hire. And you can think about what you want with what Crow's going to do, but as long as it's not hiring a friend, I'm sure I'll be okay with it. Just don't hire a friend.
You don't want a friend in the office?
No.
It's understandable, man.
Also, Ralph used to work at Peter Piper Pizza. That's fucking awesome.
I guess so, dude. Ralph was spitting today. Ralph knew exactly what ASU fans were feeling, and again, I think he absolutely nailed it. I do want to get to one question I have for you in terms of the Big 12. Before I get to that, I do want to tell everybody, if they're listening on the road or if I guess they've got their little phone pulled up, stop at your nearest Circle K, fill up on some gas, okay? Do the thing. The gas is great. The deals are great. The new free membership program is also great, where you guys can save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups and save 3 cents per gallon every single day. That really does start to add up, guys. And get every 6th free on a selection of Circle K products, whether that be pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks. They have it all over at Circle K. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Now, if you watch sports, which I imagine you do because you're in the PHNX Sun Devil show where we talk about ASU sports all the damn time, but that's not all we have here at PHNX. We got the Cardinals, we got the Coyotes, we got the Suns, we got the Diamondbacks. And if you're looking for a place to bet on it, the DraftKings Sportsbook app is the place. Can't believe we are already this deep into the NFL season. We got to make every second count. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you can make the most out of every single game day. Bet on your favorite teams for a shot at winning big bucks. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting 5 on any matchup. Get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the app now and use that code PHNX. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on the NFL, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHNX. The crown is yours. Guys, my DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week is the Bills spread this evening. I like the Bills. I think they get right. I think Josh Allen, he is going to assert himself back in the MVP conversation with a hell of an evening tonight. So that's my DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week, guys. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. We're going to bring Big Pokey back in here because if you didn't know, now you know. Arizona State Athletic Director Ray Anderson is resigning. He is no longer the athletic director at Arizona State. A big move for ASU athletics, especially with the move to the Big 12 happening next season for all of these sports. I'm curious, Shane, from your perspective, what does this do for ASU athletics getting to the Big 12, or at least in the minds of ASU fans, right? Like, something like this has to make you just feel a little bit more confident moving to a new conference, or even with the rest of these sports seasons. I know there's ASU fans out there that because Ray is gone, they're going to talk themselves into, oh, we're going to win this game. We're going to beat Oregon on Saturday, right? Because Ray's gone. Like, there's a lot of people that are going to do that. I wonder what this does for your confidence moving to the Big 12.
Well, we were talking about it when it was first announced that they were going to move to the Big 12. Like, it would make sense for them to just clean house, and clean house just meeting Ray Anderson, really. But it would just make sense for a new chapter of ASU athletics to start when they move to the Big 12. So it's just fitting. I know there's a lot of fans out there, and I'm not saying you're wrong or right, that make firing Ray Anderson their entire personality.
There's literally Twitter accounts that do that.
Yeah. So those people are going to be much more invested in ASU sports, but you're totally right. I mean, it just adds confidence. Like, you can joke all you want about it, but players might play harder. Like there are players that I know, like, have thoughts about him, and whether that be good or bad, things, they are directly impacted. Like, he is the athletic director after all. So yeah, moving to the Big 12 with this happening with moving to the Big 12, I feel like it's perfect timing.
Yeah. Lojo in the chat nailed it. Shane is so excited. He's driving a bus full of donors to Sun Devil Stadium right now. You guys absolutely nailed it. They're coming from Morgantown, actually, West Virginia, to come bring the donors to ASU.
I did drive through the Appalachians. Though I was scared, I was safe and indoors. It got dark outside halfway through the drive, and I could feel the feral people's eyes on me.
There it
like
is.
100%. There were a ton of them out there. But that's a beautiful area. Beautiful area.
There.
I've never seen leaves change color like in real time.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Yeah. No, I can't wait for you to be off this bus and back in the studio so you can enjoy Arizona State athletics with me. Because like I tweeted on Saturday, we are so lucky to be able to watch Arizona State football where the tight end plays quarterback and the running back is the punter. It quite literally is the greatest thing in college football.
Yeah, that game was really weird, Anthony.
It was really weird.
Really weird.
Really weird. But ASU ended up getting the dub.
Weird.
Victory Monday. And I think ASU, Michael Crow maybe enjoyed the Victory Monday so much that now Ray Anderson is no longer the athletic director at Arizona State. Do you have any idea, and you could totally say I've got no clue here, just in terms of maybe a potential spot where you'd like to see ASU go? And Mike McDaniel is not an option here for athletic director, just so you know. Neither is Tua.
No, I have nothing. I mean, I'm not tapped in on the athletic director space. If that surprises you in any way,
You're not that gross.
No, as I've said, man, just like don't do somebody a favor. Like, find the best candidate. I bet like people are gonna have speculations, and for they're gonna throw 4 or 5, 6 names out there. And I remember when they did this with Kenny, he was one of the 4, 5, 6 names, and you were like, I was like, this is the guy. Like, I want this guy, but there's no way they're going to hire them. They proved me wrong once, proved me wrong again.
Yeah,
hire somebody good. I'm sure you ask me in a week, and I'm going to act like I'm the most knowledgeable person on the subject and be like, well, this guy has experience. He used to work for Forbes, and man, Does he love the game of football, and he's going to be a revenue driver and marketing and yada yada. But right now I got nothing.
No, that is absolutely totally fair. Jim Rund, the ASU Senior Vice President for Educational Outreach and Student Services, is going to serve as the interim athletic director. Rund served as the interim athletic director in 2013, following the departure of Steve Patterson to the University of Texas. Yes, Shane.
I have a candidate.
Let's hear it.
My mother.
Honestly, hell yes. Hell yeah. Let's get it.
Remember what I said about favors? Crow, can I call in a favor?
Real quick, can you make my mom AD? That would be awesome.
Let's hire my mom. How's that sound?
Look, one thing that I did want to bring up, and you had kind of brought it up, just in terms of there are certainly athletes out there that we've spoken with that have reached out to us to tell us the way they feel about Ray Anderson. And I think the thing that really, I don't want to say it irritated me, even though it did, but it really put into perspective the way that Ray Anderson like kind of communicates with these athletes, right? Because it is one thing for us to talk about it. It's one thing for him to do media, but it's another thing to have, the closed door perspective. And what really stuck with me was when the bull ban went down at the timing that it did, and then the conversation that was had between Ray Anderson and the football team, and how unapologetic it felt, or the idea that they couldn't ask questions to Ray following that news. I think for me, that really left a bad taste in my mouth, but it also opened it up to like, damn, like regardless of what he says, regardless of the little Olympic sports that he's making an impact with, like this is the way that he functions with athletes. Like, I don't know about you, but you were there for that conversation. How'd that make you feel?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, this is the way he functions with athletes, and the way he functions with athletes is like a robot, like not a normal person. Like that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, that totally didn't sit right with me. Yeah. I mean, he delivered heartbreaking news to seniors who have given their entire college careers and like life at college to this football program, and acted like it wasn't a big deal. Like. Yeah, I mean, that never sat right with me. And just as I said, just the way he communicates, man, I just want to hire a normal person.
Yeah, a normal person would be great. I know there's people in the chat saying we should hire Ralph as the AD.
Ooh, I like that.
Ralph as the AD, Paul as the AD, Jacob potentially for athletic director. How do you feel about that?
Jacob, yeah. Jacob not only would care about sports, Nah, he's got a kid. Yeah.
Makes it tough, man. Makes it tough.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to continue this conversation.
My athletic director to be 1, normal, and 2, no kids.
Okay. I'll pass that along and see how far it actually makes it. But we're going to continue the conversation about Ray Anderson resigning as the athletic director. We've got some sound from Arizona State baseball coach Willie Bloomquist that we're going to get into. We're also going to talk about some prospective names here in just a little bit. But Shane, I know you're busy on the bus. I do want to get you out of here with the same question that I asked Ralph. One word to describe the Ray Anderson tenure.
Yeah, that's my word. That's my word. Just
perfect.
Gross.
That's disgusting.
Yep, that's my word.
Okay,
Coach, you've been doing a great job, and I salute you, and I miss you guys. And the Bago might eat me alive, but if not, I'll be back.
Can't wait. It's the Bart Scott meme on Monday night or Sunday night. Can't wait. Guys, if you enjoyed the content from Shane, follow Shane at Shane Deef. Like I said, we are going to continue this conversation. Shane, good luck on the road, buddy.
Ta-ta.
Look, before we get to the sound from Willie Bloomquist, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the friends that we have over at OGs. With all of the drama going on as it relates to Arizona State athletics, whether that be with the football program, basketball program, what's going on with hockey, volleyball, Ray Anderson, guys. Thankfully, our buds at OG's Brands are back, and they've got an exclusive deal to help alleviate the hectic environment that you guys must be in. Great deals for PHNX listeners, and they made it super easy for you to score on these savings. Get 25% off any OG's products at your neighborhood ZenLeaf location from now until November 30th when you place an online order and use our code. Just head to www.zenleafdispensaries.com, find your closest location, order your favorite OG's gummies for pickup, and enter discount code PHNX to get 25% off at checkout. This deal is exclusive to our PHNX listeners, and a reminder, it's only available for online/pickup orders. Discount code PHNX is active until November 30th. Now, there's going to be some ASU fans that probably have a few drinks this evening, or maybe this afternoon. Maybe they've already had some. You stopped at brunch after you heard the Ray Anderson news. Now you're maybe a little bit tipsy. You're walking back to your place. You're walking back to wherever you got to be. The sun is out, and you want to hide the fact that maybe you had a couple drinks, maybe you had no G's. Shady Rays, the sunglasses for you, not only to look fresh, but to hide everything else that you got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, you can shop the entire collection at their brand new location, Kierland Commons, a full-stop shop for all things Shady Rays. And guess what, ASU fans? Your Shady Ray, he's gone. He's no longer the athletic director. So now go get yourself the right Shady Rays. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There is no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back, and exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use that code PHNX for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Look, we are going to go ahead and get into the sound from Willie Bloomquist here in a second, but do Bobby Hurley and do all of us here at PHNX a solid. Hit that like button. Also, go to gophnx.com today. Become a diehard. It is super cheap, super affordable. You're not only going to get one free shirt, which no better time to grab the ASU shirt than right now, but you're also going to get some discounts on some great events that we have. We already brought up the PHNX Takeover event happening I believe November 25th. So it is definitely going to be a great time. Not to mention, you get access to the Die Hard Discord. I'll tell you what, when that news broke that Ray Anderson was resigning, that Discord chat was absolutely popping and going off. So that's the place that you certainly want to be. But let's go ahead and take a look at what Arizona State baseball coach Willie Bloomquist had to say about the recent news.
I think obviously I just got news of it just like you all did. So for me, it's one of those things. I'm obviously very grateful for Ray, and he gave me the opportunity to come back to this place, which I love. Obviously, I love Arizona State, and the man gave me my job back here to come back. So I'm forever grateful for him for that opportunity. And for me, I see a side of Ray that you guys don't get to see every day, and that is the fact that Ray's a good man. a very good man, and has treated me absolutely outstanding since I've been here, since day one, and has supported me in everything that I'm doing. And for me, I'm, obviously you never like seeing a guy get fired just because the man's a human being and he's a good human. And so from that, it's always sad, I guess, and disappointing when that happens. But on the same token, we've been taught to think onward, onward to the next thing, and we understand that this is a business and things happen. And but from my standpoint, very grateful for the opportunity and wish him well. And like I said, at the heart of it, Ray is an outstanding individual.
Again, I know there's a lot of Arizona State fans that don't necessarily feel the same way that Willie feels toward Ray. But at the end of the day, I do want to pull what he said from there. This is a business, and it is onward for Arizona State, right? There is a lot of confidence right now. I know the football season is what it is, but at the end of the day, this is a football team coming off a really big and impressive win at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. The right coaching staff is in place for Arizona State football to do its thing and get back on the map. Now the time has come for Arizona State, Michael Crow, the Board of Regents, to go out there and, like Shane said, find a guy to just do the job. Get it done. I don't want somebody innovative, okay? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, we're going to be innovative and new, we're going to go hire Herm Edwards. I'm tired of it, okay? I'm tired of, we're going to be innovative and new, and we're going to do NIL this way, or we're going to do the transfer portal this way. No, go out there, go get a guy that is aggressive, knows what he wants, or a girl. Go get anybody that's going to do the job, that knows what they want to make this athletic program successful. Not just football, not just basketball, but continue the success that we're seeing in hockey, in volleyball, in triathlon. Get baseball, get softball back on track. Continue the success and the growth that they have with soccer and golf. Get Arizona State athletics back on the map. And right now, November 13th, 2023, that is the day that Arizona State athletics changed for the better, with Ray Anderson stepping down and resigning as the athletic director. Look, we are going to keep it rolling all week long on the PHNX Sun Devil Show, talking about ASU football, ASU basketball, ASU hockey, ASU volleyball, and the current search that is going to be going on for Arizona State to land their next athletic director. It is going to be a long but a fun week for Arizona State fans. Hit that like button, subscribe on your way out, and if you enjoyed the content, give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me on social at Anthony_Totri. Like I said, stay locked in all week long. And now more than ever, two things. Go Devils, and peace.
We all silly like the mayor.